it's well fortified. Even though I've used picket fences instead of concrete walls. It seems picket fences in this game are resistant to explosions as much as concrete. I think I originally wanted to build a huge Tower of Babel structure. And then hit the build's ceiling, which I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's about nine blocks up, nine floors up. You hit the build ceiling. That's in the vanilla game. I've now got mods installed, but this construction is primarily pre-modded. In fact, it was begun before many of the DLC, when you just had the very base game materials, such as these concrete foundation blocks were the only concrete. Otherwise it was wriggly tin and wood. Hence this thing is almost entirely built out of these huge blocks, which I've modded and, well, not modded, I've added to as DLC dropped. So things like the elevators were installed whenever that DLC, oh, and the Raider world, when Nuka World came, and so forth, and oh, what was it called? Anyway, you can tell by the stuff here, the related DLC, and how I've shoehorned things into this pre-existing structure. Well, I say pre-existing, I built it.
Don't know what's more so,
but it was limited by its shape and size, what I could do to it. Here's the central pond, the pool, which you initially have to deradiate by scrapping all the radioactive barrels that litter the site. So I didn't intentionally build this as a castle, but by default it's a good castle. You know, great thick walls, look at that. You could almost withstand mini nukes, never mind bullets and bazooka rounds. It's a good solid structure. The round towers and thinner concrete walls came with that DLC, whatever that was. I'm not sure. I must have put this tower in recently, because one of the mods I have installed, which affects all my characters, all my playthroughs, is Settlements Extended or Expanded, which raises the build height and the build area. I'll go into that to show you. So originally the maximum build height is where you see the tops of the walls there. I couldn't have gone any higher. Has this crashed? Maybe it got too much. No, it hasn't crashed. It sometimes does that because with large builds. You see the build area's being pushed way out to there now. So right here is the build limit, where before it was here. Anyway, I said I've been watching a lot of Shadiversity videos about castles, castle design, castle building and the like. It's made me think to maybe perhaps retro fit some of these to conform to his ideas of what a castle is, a true castle. Not quite sure what I need to do here. The alternative is I start with an empty site and build, which probably means creating a new character. I've got newish characters that I haven't built here, so I might do that. But this is a fairly good castle. Not typical castle, it's not got any particularly Gothic or medieval features except the round towers perhaps. Round towers that look like turrets. A few walls. And picket fences count as walls given their indestructibility. I suppose to make it look the part I should replace all the picket fences with walls, and something like this. But I perhaps extend this up and have a wall walk with battlements, sniping positions, loopholes for shooting from a protected position. And go the whole medieval hog, as it were. But then this build is so big already. If I try and extend it or modify it to be more castle-y, it might just get impossibly crashy or take eons to load. That was being attacked. Wonder where from. But see, there's not a hope in hell that the game enemies could ever take this castle. This building is just far too heavily defended. It's overly defended, it's hugely strong structure. So I might go away and just custom build a medieval castle, however inappropriate it might be for the Americas. This structure, for all that it looks a bit mad, is probably far more Fallout lore friendly, in that you could imagine some warlord in post-apocalyptic America making a stronghold for himself with these great concrete blocks. After all, there's a quarry just along the track there, the railway track. Anyone that's played this game before will know the quarry I mean. In fact, there's a quest line involving the quarry, taking over the quarry or reclaiming the quarry, draining it, defeating the raiders that take residence there. A quarry that provides blocks of that sort of dimension. So you can imagine a warlord using whatever came to hand, the quarry that's just along the road, for a handy source of building materials, these ready-made blocks, except of course these are all concrete. But then the game doesn't give us the option of using the quarried blocks, just concrete blocks of similar or the same dimensions. Anyway, this was an epic build, not quite as big as my arena, which again is circular. This was an early attempt at a round mega building. And quite successful. I think I'll go back into the build mode if it'll let me without crashing. And see the defense and so on levels. How well defended it is, how much water, how much electricity, etc. etc. How many beds. Happiness is going down, probably after so many attacks and me not repairing the place. Power 306. Defense, oh, it's only 178. But it manages effortlessly because of the way it's laid out. 54 food, 31 people. It's quite a lot of people here then, 40 beds. And I've almost continuously through its history been adding to it and building into it. Building apartments and rooms, and originally this whole circular walkway was a huge dormitory with more or less lined with beds. But with time I started to build into the structure, put rooms in. Oh, here's another one. A lower level of lots of rooms, potentially. Oh, so this is the lift. Get the lift. Anyway, let me know, should I make this into a castle? Proper? Should I try and retrofit it to look more castle-y, to conform to preconceptions of castle design? Or just leave it as it is and start from scratch. Build a brand new castle in a medieval style, or with a Fallout take on the medieval style. Let me know. Thank you for watching. Ta-ta.